Hello everyone and welcome to a Replica Airguns video. This is an Airsoft video. We're looking at the Bolt Airsoft B4A1 Carbine. It shoots 6mm Plastic Airsoft BBs, and this will be the full tabletop and field test review, so I will be shooting it later on. If all you want to do is see this gun shoot, then fast forward to somewhere near the middle. Alright, this gun is made in Taiwan by Bolt Airsoft, as you can see here. It is an AEG airsoft carbine, so it uses a motor that powers a spring that drives a piston that fires a BB. Now what's unique about this is that it uses the BRSS system, which is the Bolt Recoil shock system. And this simulates recoil quite nicely. Now it's not going to be as much recoil as an actual .223 or the real projectile this gun would shoot, but it is somewhere similar to, say, a .22 long rifle, maybe even a little bit more. Now this gun shoots in semi and full auto. It has a metal upper and lower receiver, metal magazine, a lot of metal parts on it, but there is some polymer in areas like the pistol grip, stock, and forestock area. Now I did want to mention this was provided by Bolt Airsoft to me, so again I want to thank Bolt for supplying this gun. They sent it to me really quickly so that I could review this for you. Now it did normally come with the carry handle here. I took that off. It looks good on, but I took it off because I like to put red dot sights or different sighting systems if I can. And I dressed it up with a bit of an AR riser and a nice red-green dot scope here, or sight on it. Now this gun does weigh about 6.1 pounds, and it uses your standard AEG battery type setup. You can go as low as 7.2 volts. You can go right up to even higher, I think up to 11 volt lithium ion batteries. I'm just running your standard NiCad battery at 9.2 volts, so somewhere in the middle. I did all my testing with a 9.2 volt battery. Now the Bolt Recoil does slow down the spring action a little bit, so when you compare it to other AEGs, it may not shoot as fast with the same voltage. So if you are using higher voltage batteries, you will also get a higher rate of fire. Alright, so I quickly want to show you around. Take a quick look. Now you have your standard metal magazine that works with your standard high capacity AEG guns that use the similar AR style mags. Metal mag. It does fit rather nice. There's not a lot of wiggle, which is quite nice. And then you also have your folding stock, or not folding, but your adjustable stock. And it is fairly tight. You can hear the wiggle. They all have a little bit of play. So does a real AR, but it's nice and tight. I would say it's pretty good. I wouldn't want it to be too much tighter than that. Polymer grips here as well. You have your semi and full auto selector switch here. If it'll focus. There we go. You have your bolt markings on it. Now this really doesn't do anything. This is kind of your bolt release, but it doesn't really do much. Now on the other side we have our charging handle, which opens up your bolt cover. This is sort of a forward assist, but it's not really working. Now you can adjust your hop up in here if you need to, but I want to show you the action. Now I use most of my batteries up for the testing, the field test portion, so hopefully I have enough juice here. I just did a quick charge to get this to cycle for you. I'm just going to hold it and pull the trigger just to give you an idea of how the bolt action works. You can see there's a bit of recoil here, and especially when you get into full auto. Pretty sweet. Now I have another video that I actually did a quick preview, and I show this side by side compared to a standard AEG, so I'll put a link in here that you can check out that other video and take a look at that side by side comparison of the Bolt BRSS system going side by side to a standard AEG, and you can see the difference in recoil. It's quite substantial. Alright, again, polymer front. Most of this forward barrel area here is metal, including the flash or the muzzle hider. Flash hider, muzzle tip, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, now you normally have your standard sights with your peep sight, and it's adjustable, flips up and down. I just haven't got it. There it is. But you can see the smaller peep sight and then the larger. But again, I was using this riser along with my red dot scope here. I kind of like that setup, and I did my field test using that setup as well. Now that's the magazine release there. Again, adjustable stock. Now I kind of wanted to get into this sort of, why would you want a recoil system on an AEG? Well, I think it's a good idea because it gives you the compromise between what a standard AEG offers, which is sustained velocity, higher capacity magazines, more rounds per minute sometimes, and you can quickly change your batteries and drop in new magazines with an AEG rather quickly and get a lot of shots out in a very short period of time. Now, the downside to an AEG is you don't really have, a lot of times you don't have the actual blowback in the bolt. It's all internally happening, and when you do have blowback, you really don't feel it much in your shoulder. Now, the advantage to a gas blowback system is it kind of functions and operates more like a real gun with a true blowback system happening. You feel the recoil to some degree, but the negative side to gas blowback systems is that the rate of fire may drop off, the velocity will drop off as the gases cool the gun, and you generally don't have high capacity magazines. You're usually sitting somewhere around 30, if you're lucky, up to 50 rounds tops. And as the gun cools down, even with new mags, you won't get as high velocities. So this is a nice compromise because you get the blowback action, you get the recoil, you get a similar feel to a blowback with the sustained velocity, higher magazine count, and the ability to swap out batteries and other magazines rather quickly and keep shooting all day long with a one-style gun. So nice compromise between realism and functionality. Alright, I quickly wanted to show you, it did come in a rather nice box. Take a quick look at it. Can't really get it all in at once, but we'll take a look here. See, there's some of the features. Picture of a guy here doing his thing. Alright. And inside the box was the gun. Did not come with a battery, did not come with a charger, just came pretty much as is, except for it did come again with the carry handle. It did come with the manual, of course. It's well laid out. A little bit of English in here, but not too bad. It's got the diagram here, parts diagram, which might come in handy as well. Now, as I said, Bolt Airsoft did send me this gun, and the reason for that is it's not readily available here in Canada. I'm hoping that maybe this review, a little bit of talking with some of my suppliers, may get this gun into Canada and get it supplied here. I'm hoping that'll happen. It is more readily available in the US. It is distributed in other parts of the world. So for you people in the US and other parts of the world, you may be able to get it a little bit easier than we can here in Canada. Hopefully that changes over time. Alright, so at this point I'm going to head outside. I'm going to take my Bolt Airsoft with BRSS system. We're going to put it through the chronograph, see what kind of actual feet per second we get. Now, Bolt does make this in a couple different variations. A lower FPS version right around 360 or just under, I believe, and then a higher version which gets up and over 400. They sent me the over 400 version because of the Canadian laws being that we need to have a .20 gram BB traveling at over 366 FPS in order to import this gun all black and all metal if we want it to be. Otherwise, it becomes what's considered a replica or a non-gun. This is actually considered a firearm in Canada. Although it's unregulated, it sort of falls into the classification of your regular pellet or BB gun because of the higher feet per second rating, which makes it capable of causing serious injury. Obviously, if you get shot in the arm, it's going to sting, but if you get shot in the eye, you could cause serious injury to your eye, and therefore it falls into our firearm category. So as I said, at this point we're going to head outside, we're going to shoot it through the chronograph, get the feet per second rating, find out what it's actually shooting. Then I'm going to stand back 30 feet from the target, shoot at the target in semi-auto and full auto and see what kind of accuracy we get out of the Bolt B4A1 Carbine. I'm also going to shoot it at a pumpkin. Why not? It's that time of the year. I've got a bunch of decaying pumpkins lying around that I need to get rid of one way or another. So I'm going to shoot a pumpkin up with it and empty the magazine, or whatever comes first. Either the battery drains out of the magazine, or if it happens at the same time, whatever. We're going to shoot a pumpkin, have some fun. I'm going to capture it all from a variety of different camera angles for you. So I hope you enjoyed the section. I know a lot of people like the shooting portion better than the rest of it. After we're done testing this gun out outside, we're going to come inside and I'm just going to do a few pros and cons and then wrap it up. Alright, so we're all set up here. I've got my Bolt Airsoft, and this is the BRRS Bolt Recoil Shock System setup with simulated recoil. And we're going to put this through the chronograph. I am using .20 gram BBs. I've got my action cam, my Sony action cam on. Bunch of cameras going all at once. So we're just going to shoot 5 rounds through the chronograph and see what kind of velocities we get on average. Alright, so here we go. First shot. 423. 422. 422, very consistent. Fourth shot, 419, right around 420. All right, again, another 420. So we're shooting consistently about 420. Now again, here in Canada, for airsoft to have all black like this, we need to be shooting a .20 gram BB at approximately 366 plus FPS, and we're definitely exceeding that. So this is fully within our limitations here in Canada for importation. And again, I want to thank Bolt for sending this gun to me and going through the process of making sure it was qualified to be sent into Canada. All right, so we're going to move to the accuracy portion of this test. I will be doing accuracy as I always do from 30 feet out with the rifles, shooting on target, and I'll also be doing some pumpkin shooting since it's that season, and maybe a little bit of slow-mo as well. All right, so let's head over and do the accuracy portion of this test. All right, so I've got my Bolt Airsoft and I'm all set up. We're going to shoot at the target 30 feet out, and I am using the .36 gram BB, so a little heavier for this, because I'm going to be shooting pumpkins with it afterwards as well. Usually the heavier BBs tend to be a little more accurate. And I'm going to shoot on the target in semi-auto, shoot about 5 rounds, and then we're going to go up, take a quick look, and come back and shoot some full auto. And then I'm going to just plink a little bit on those targets just for fun. Alright, so let's go. We're going for accuracy here. I'll shoot a few more. Okay, let's go take a look. Now this sight is roughly targeted in. My red dot that I'm using, or green dot, and we have about a 1.5 to 2 inch grouping, not bad. We're going to shoot some more in full auto. Alright, here we go. Just going to do a burst, make sure the magazine is good. We'll take a look. Go back to semi-auto. Pretty much the same group. Looks about the same to me. Pretty tight. So even with the recoil shooting in full auto, it didn't seem to affect it too much. We're going to plink a little bit. I'll have to adjust up just a little bit and a little bit to the right, but it should be pretty close. Okay, just some fun shooting here. On my aim point. There it is. Anyways, at this point we're going to do some pumpkin shooting just for fun. Alright, so let's head over and do that. Alright, I'm not going to waste much time here because all my cameras are rolling. I'm just going to go full auto and we're going to shoot this pumpkin. Simple as that. Here we go. That's it. We're done. We're out of juice. We're out of BBs. It's all done. There's a lot of holes in that pumpkin. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, that pumpkin's been shot up. Didn't look like a lot went out the other side, but I see some holes in this side, so good penetration. Not too bad at all. Alright, so let's head inside and finish up this review. Alright, so the Bolt Airsoft B4A1 Carbine performed pretty well for me. At 30 feet away, I was getting about a 1.5 inch grouping. Didn't seem to matter if I was in semi or full auto. It stayed pretty close to that 1.5 to 2 inch grouping. Even with the added recoil, didn't seem to get too far out there. The feet per second was right around 420, very consistent. Now, as I said, being that it has the recoil system, the rate of fire is a little bit slower, and it does tend to use up more battery than an average AEG will. I mean, you have to give something to get something, and to get that recoil, you're going to use a little more battery. It's just a fact. You can't really get around it. So let's get into some of the pros and the cons. What I like about the Bolt B4A1 is that it's very unique. It's one of the only guns I know of that has the BRSS system. It is very effective. It's very fun to shoot. Gives you a nice tapping on the shoulder when you're shooting it, making it feel a lot more like a gas blowback rifle. I like the fact that it's all metal. Everything seems to fit nicely. The tolerances are excellent. It's pretty much what you would expect from an Airsoft AR styled rifle. Of course, it's nice that it shoots in semi and full auto. And even though it does use their own proprietary system, about 90% of other Airsoft parts, like magazines and outer accessories, things like that will fit on it, and even some standard AEG internal parts will work inside of this gun too. Now in my testing, it was quite accurate in both semi and full auto. Irregardless of the recoil, that didn't seem to affect accuracy, and that was a concern of mine, but it didn't seem to affect it at all. Now some of the things I didn't like about the Bolt B4A1, it does use more battery than a standard AEG. And so if you're going to take this and shoot it in the field and spend a day, you're going to have to load up on a few batteries. As far as the magazines go, that's not any different, but you will have to consider the fact that it does use a little bit more juice than a standard AEG. Another negative point would be the fact that it's not really available in Canada. And for me being a Canadian, that's not always great, and my Canadian viewers are all going to be asking me when and where they can get this gun, I'm sure. Now that pretty much wraps up this review of the Bolt B4A1 Carbine with their proprietary Bolt recoil shock system. Hope you've enjoyed this review. I had a lot of fun making it. And again, I want to thank Bolt Airsoft for supplying this product. It is a great product overall. So thanks again for watching another Replica Airguns video. Make sure to check out the Replica Airguns website where I have all kinds of reviews of air guns, airsoft guns, blank guns, and accessories. You'll find me there at replicaairguns.com. You can also check me out on Facebook and Twitter. The username is Replica Airguns. And of course, if you want to keep updated with the new videos that come out, you can subscribe to me on my YouTube channel. Alright, so thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care.